If you are new to Diablo Immortal, welcome. What I'm going to be doing today is explaining to you the Ultimate Beginner's Guide, which is sort of an efficiency guide. I'm going to walk you through what you need to know if you are starting the game and the best things to do to get caught up and caught pace with the players who have been playing a while. What I'm going to be doing is breaking this down sort of lecture style. So I have here a paint. I'm going to open up paint and I'm going to break down, because I've done this before when I was breaking down complicated things. I think this works decent. I'm going to break down here the way to actually do this. So first and foremost, I got to tell you when you start the game, all right? Right when you start the game, the most important thing, I'm not going to spend time talking about this, is picking the class. So pick a class that you really care about. Go watch videos until you find the right class. So you get the right class, okay? Once you have the right class, the very first thing you got to do is get to level 60. So the best way to get to level 60 is just do quests, queue for quests. Once you get stuck with the quest, it's going to say, hey, get a required level of whatever. When you're at getting the required level to get the next quest, and you know it's a main quest because on the left here where you have the quest, it's going to have it's going to be orange on the left over here, okay? It's going to be an obvious main quest. The ones that are blue and all these other colors, these are side quests, etc., but it'll be orange, okay? It'll say, hey, get to level 56 or whatever. When you hit that point, you're going to work on the battle pass. If you don't know what the battle pass is, you click up here, you go to Codex here, and in the battle pass, every time you hit this chest here, you're going to be getting a big jump in experience, and that experience is one such way that you can get to the next required level to continue your main story. So you're going to do the main story, then when you hit the gaps of time, you're going to be claiming your battle pass to get more experience so you can do the main story again. So once you hit level 60, your next path is getting Paragon levels. That is the only thing you are going to focus on. Okay, immediately you're going to focus on Paragon levels. You're going to do this through a number of ways, but mostly you're going to be doing your dailies. Just do your dailies. Okay, these include things like, I'm assuming your shadow, like the assembly. The assembly is super important because it's basically a third of a level for free every single day. Do your dailies, do your contracts, do your bounties, do all of the standard daily activities, okay, that you need to do. At this time, you can also be trying to find a better clan while you're leveling Paragon, as getting into the clan and having an active clan will eventually get you resources, okay? So do your dailies, get your experience, get your clan. Now, if once you're doing these things, there's something else you're gonna have to do to get these Paragon levels, and that is overworld farming. So if you don't know that, just go watch any of my farming spot videos, and they'll show you different spots to overworld farm. You basically go run in a circle, killing a bunch of monsters in order to turn in bestuaries and get legendary items, etc. The thing is, this is going to give you legendary items, and legendary items are, again, dictated by your Paragon level, and not just because if you actually go and you look at the map and you go here, the hell difficulty, you can see that there's different difficulties. And yes, each one of these difficulties do drop factually better items. So if you can go to Hell 4 and kill things in Hell 4, and you can equip Hell 4 items, for instance, 150 Paragon, you should go to it. That is possible. But also, increasing your overall Paragon level, going up with the Paragon level, will actually increase the attributes that are shown here. So I'm 167, which is below the server Paragon level, although the server Paragon level doesn't matter for the conversation point we're having here. If somebody was, let's say, 190 Paragon, their triple row items would have higher stats than my triple row items, because if you scroll down to the bottom and look, they actually show you right here. You can see how it says required level 154. That's because the stats of the item go up as the Paragon level goes up. The roof of the item. So you can see what I'm saying. The very highest stats that the item can get is gated by what the person who acquired that item's Paragon level is. This is part of the reason we need Paragon levels, because it literally increases your attributes, but the attributes also are what increase combat rating. It's the most effective way of getting combat rating, and it's the free-to-play way of getting combat rating, and the combat rating is what dictates basically not only what difficulty that you can attain, but also things like challenge rifts, and basically is your progression in the game for most intents and purposes. Now back to the paint. So once we get to roughly the server Paragon, we'll say you make server Paragon. You can see I'm just below it, but it doesn't matter. Right around there, you get server Paragon level. Now, what do we do at this point, okay? Now that you're caught up at server Paragon level, the game is already at a point where it's in-game, okay? Now we are in-game in Diablo Immortal, because at this point, we are at Hell 4 or Hell 5, depending upon how far ahead you are, if you're farming ahead, etc. And the Hell 4 and Hell 5, the only new thing at the moment is set items. These are the only new things that we have in the game. There was new set items added, the rings, etc. So at the moment, everyone is focusing on completing the 6-piece set items. If you're watching this in August or September, people are probably still focusing on this. If you're watching this like in December, people probably have most of these, and what they're actually focusing on at this point is min-maxing secondary stats, okay? So what they'll be doing is like, oh, okay, I've already got triple rows on literally everything, and now I'm min-maxing stats like this, like your death heals party members for 3% is pretty useless, right? But if I can get another one like continual damage taken decreased by 8%, it's just way, way, way better, right? So why wouldn't I want to have that piece instead? That's where you're going to see the end game going, okay? It's going to go from like just trying to get the items to min-maxing the items, etc., to getting triple rows, blah, 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 blah. That's like most games, that's what's going to end up happening, okay? So this is the process. As soon as you start the game, this is what you need to focus on in order to get to the point of min-maxing. Basically, everyone is sort of min-maxing whatever they're available to on the Paragon level. In order to get there, this is the process. Get to 60 by doing your main quest. Use the battle pass when you get stuck. Once you're at 60, get Paragon levels by doing your dailies, your assembly, your Keon's Ordeal and stuff. If you're an Immortal, though I doubt you're an Immortal if you're just not hitting Paragon level. Get to the server Paragon level, and you can do this through things like overworld farming, etc. Farm your dungeons. Now, there is an argument to be made that you could farm the dungeons a little bit earlier in like Hell 3, etc., because rings don't drop there, and having the set pieces will increase your combat rating as you're climbing. So I do recommend to take a break probably at Hell 2 and Hell 3 to farm some green pieces, if anything, just to increase your combat rating so that by the time you actually get to Hell 4, it will be easier. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You might want to take a few minutes sometime during this Paragon level farming to actually farm some set items, because I do believe that this will be quite important in order to be able to actually get to places like Hell 4, Hell 5, in order to be able to do these items, especially if you're free to play. You're not going to be able to just grind the Paragon level straight to there. If you're free to play, you're going to have to take some time to get some higher combat rating, because with each one of these difficulties, as the difficulty goes up, the combat rating required will go up. You can see this because if you actually go to your combat rating on the difficulty you're at, it will tell you your combat rating is 1,286 higher than the combat rating, maxing out 22% increase. Combat rating has a maximum of 22% increase or decrease, meaning that if I am 1,286 lower, I'm going to do 22% decreased damage, and I'll receive increased 18% damage, which is the cap here, as you can see with these. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the combat rating is actually basically a hard gate when it comes to being able to get to the difficulties, and you're going to need to get set item pieces, which you will acquire from the dungeons each time. You can find where you're getting them by if you just scroll down on the set pieces and you click on them here and you look, you can actually see where each one of these pieces are. So if you want to find a particular set, just click on it. You can see where each of these are. Keep in mind when you're farming dungeons, each week in the activities, some are boosted. When you see this double up arrow here, that means these are boosted set drops. And I would recommend farming from each of these dungeons during that time, as it will increase the set drop with it. Farming this with a 4-man party gives you an additional chest at the end, which can drop both legendary items and set pieces. So it is always recommended to farm, if possible, with 4 players. While you're doing all of this and leveling, don't forget to be going to the blacksmith at different intervals and getting yourself these upgrades. This is part of the thing you're going to be behind on, because if you're new to the game and you have bonus like 400% experience, which is something we haven't talked about, if you're below the server Paragon level, you get bonus experience depending upon how far below you are. I'm only 1 level below, so I get 10% bonus experience. But if you're like 100 levels below, you're going to be getting 400% bonus experience. So everything you do, quest, battle pass, everything is significantly faster, which is why we're focusing on the Paragon leveling, because if you get the Paragon levels up there quicker, it's going to increase your item drops and save you a lot of time than seeing they're focusing on the item drops so much. So server Paragon level is sort of your goal. But anyway, the reason I'm saying is because if you have bonus experience, it means you're going to have to kill less monsters in order to get to the level that everyone else had to get to, because they did it all at 20% and the server moves 2 levels per day. So tomorrow it's going to be 170 Paragon, meaning everyone who's currently like 10% experience right now is grinding more to get the same amount of experience the people that started later having. Meaning in the upgrades, when you go to do things like in your blacksmith upgrades here, if you're starting late, you're not going to have as many upgrades that are required because you had to kill less monsters, so you got less drops, less salvage, and you haven't done this part as much. For this reason, it is doubly important to make sure that you're doing things like hidden layers, you're doing the blue side missions because they give enchanted dust, etc. Enchanted dust is something that we kind of all giggled at when we started the game, but if you start the game later, enchanted dust is actually quite difficult to get your hands on. The only other way to really get it at a good rate is you can come to the smithing materials and all the scrap that you farmed, you can come here and I can buy like 1,000 of this enchanted dust, right? And it only cost me 9,999 scrap. I can just buy it, and now I have 1,184 dust, and I'm good for a little bit, right? But that's because I've been grinding, or had been grinding, at the reduced experience for so much. And now when I'm only grinding around Paragon level, I'm not getting per level as much of these resources. So that's something to keep in mind. When you're leveling out also your set pieces, you require the crystals, and this requires challenge rifts. I'm not going to go into this in detail because I've covered this many times in other videos, but basically you have to do challenge rifts either in a party or solo to be able to upgrade these secondary set items. So if we look on the video called time-gated resources, combat rating upgrades start now, look for that video to cover this in detail. If you get bored with your class, you can always class change over here in the Shifting Flames. You get to do it once a week, but you only get one revert. Keep in mind the revert goes back to your previous class, and yes, you do, between classes, when you transfer back and forth, keep all the essences for classes you've already played. Do keep in mind those reverts do not reset. You only get one of the revert, but you do get as many class changes as you want. You just have to wait 1 week for each one of the class changes. There's one other important thing to keep in mind with the class change. When you class change from something that uses the same attributes, your set items stay, or else these are not going to be usable for the other classes. For instance, this is an intelligence class, I'm necromancer, so if I go the wizard, these set items are still the same thing. If I go the barbarian, the intelligence will turn to strength, and this will become reservist gear, which in and of itself is not set pieces, it's just placeholder materials that you can't do anything with other than just have the raw stats. So if you are a strength class, you have 4 classes that share the same gear, but if you're a wizard or necromancer, you're the only ones that share the same gear. So keep that in mind when you actually go to do your class change. Now, keep in mind that gems are extremely important in the game, and you can actually upgrade the star rank of gems. This is something people don't know. For instance, I have a 4-star gem here, right? Now, if I had a 5-star gem that I put in here and then use the 5-star gem in it as duplicates, it would turn this from a 4 to a 5-star. So keep that in mind. But as you go higher ranking, you need more and more duplicates, meaning you don't want to go too high of rank before you star up your gem if you decide to, or else you can end up in a situation like this one where you have a 3-star, and this was a really tough spot for me because it needed to be a 4-star to help me get to my next wings, and you get wings from resonance, etc. But I'm sure you'll figure that out if you're someone who's going to use this information. And the actual jades itself, I needed so many, I needed 6 of them, right? But I can't really go and get 6 of these because they were really, really expensive, and I couldn't really go get a 4 or 5-star one because that would be really expensive too. So just kind of keep in mind that when it comes to upgrading gems, you can star them up, and make sure that you're planning that out if you decide to do some welling or something. For the free-to-play, the gems that you need to care about aren't so much those ones as they are these ones, your normal gems, your life, your damage, etc. Make sure you're doing your hidden layers every day. You're buying these from the hilt trader. The normal gems are actually ridiculously important, okay? If you look at the stats that I've got, most of these come from this. Look at this stat. Look at this here. Rank 3, 24 armor pin. Rank 5, 56 armor pin. But if you look at the one I just upgraded, rank 6, 136 armor pin, you can see the difference when you upgrade these gems is absolutely insane. You get a ton of stats for these. 92 damage from a rank 5 gem. Rank 6 gem, 148 damage. So you get really big stats from these for sure. And the normal gems are 100% free to play viable. When it comes to free to play, for the legendary gems, highly recommend crafting 1-star gems and getting a rank 10 of the 1-star gems. Or there are some decent 2-star gems too, including the ones that come for free within the Battle Pass. We talked about the Battle Pass a little bit earlier. There's other videos I have that break down a tier list of 1, 2, and 5-star gems. So if you want more details on the gems, you can get it there. But basically, don't sleep on normal gems. Be careful when you're upgrading the star rank of your gems that you do it soon enough so you don't get caught in an uncomfortable position if you are in fact going to be spending money. And then keep an eye out that you don't crunch your battle pass 2-star legendary gems too, as the ones that show up in the battle pass, these fervent fangs, can only be crafted randomly or got in this battle pass. They do not drop out of the Elder Rift where the other gems drop, for instance. And if you're free to play, you'll probably be using that gem. So just a quick heads up on the gem side of things. Common suggestion, but don't forget to do your daily gambles. You never know when you're going to get a good legendary item from there. I just used 100,000 and got nothing, but I've gotten plenty of good items. In fact, the triple roll that I got from my offhand, I got from gambling right there. Look at that critical chance, critical damage, triple roll. You got to love it. Market's highly important. If you're a well and you're going to be buying, it's highly important because this is where you're going to get gems quickly. You can only get so many per day, okay? Whereas if you are a free-to-play person, you're more than likely going to be having alts, running multiple characters, and what you're doing is the tradable gems that you get every day, you're going to be putting in here and selling. You're like, I don't want these gems, so I'm going to put it up for sale, and you're going to take the platinum that you get from this and either to buy the 5-star gems that you're not able to get because you're free to play, or you're going to take them to buy the gems you actually want. For me, I am a person who has spent money, so what I'm doing is I am buying these normal gems, and the people who are not spending money are profiting in-game platinum currency off the fact that I am spending money and buying their gems from them, and they can use that to then save up their platinum and buy the really, the really good big gems. This is the way that most people do it, and you can actually sell the gems independent on each character, and then what you can do is eventually, let's say if you have your main character and you've been selling gems on all of your characters, what you can do then on your main character is go in and be like, okay, well, I'm going to sell a gem for a really, really high price. You can get like a 2-star gem and sell it for like 8,000 platinum or something, or get a 2 out of 5-star gem and sell it way higher than normal. And you can buy your own gem from yourself in order to transfer that platinum at a 15% cost. But you can, in fact, do that, and that's one of the only ways to min-max sort of farming platinum as free to play. It's super annoying, but it is a possible strategy just in case you want to implement it. There you go. Something to keep in mind, too, is these shops like the gambling one I told you about is actually gated by your challenge rift. So if you do not go and do the challenge rift for the level you're at, for instance, Hell 4, you have to clear challenge rift 95, and you have to do it solo. If you don't do it, it does not unlock the ability for this shop to actually drop you good loot. Like, you just straight up will not get the legendaries of the level that you can actually equip. You'll just get worse ones, factually worse statted ones. You can actually see this very easily by just going to the challenge rifts and actually looking. Okay, you can see the rewards on the boxes. I think it's 95. It should have like a little skull or something by it. Yeah, there you go. Look at this. Solo victory reward. Reaching 150 Paragon and completing the challenge rift will improve items acquired in challenge rifts, elder rifts, and strife activities and vendors to be equivalent to items found in Hell 4. So these would have been Hell 3 items if I didn't go and clear this rift. So just keep that in mind. Speaking of rifts, the Elder Rifts actually have a free rare crest every day, but you have to go and actually claim it from clicking the Elder Rift. You don't have to run it. I do recommend keeping an eye out on what the rift modifiers are. There's an occasional modifier that will happen when you're running your crest. That will be called Demon Spire. If you don't kill any mobs and then go crunch all the Demon Spires first, it massively increases your legendary drop rate. Not enough to the point where you should go around and try to farm these rift modifiers. But I've gotten 4 legendaries from a single Elder Rift before while live streaming. The proof is still up there. That video is still live. And it was hilarious to see. So keep your eye out for the Demon Spires. Speaking of rifts, one more time, make sure that you get in a warband so you can get the Eternal Legendary Crest every week. This is a tradable gem. This is a very important way of increasing your platinum gains every week. For that 1,600 is for sure worth the gem. Now, the warband is something that you want to keep in mind too, because the warband is where you also can get other like set pieces. So you'll have people that will join the warband, and the warband's kind of dead content. People will go in and out of the warbands all the time because you have to go to like help other people out with their warband raids, and you only have to do warband raids once, and there's not really too much of a reason to be in the warband because mostly you do pickup groups, but you do get a 5% magic gem bonus if you are all 4 in the same warband, which is kind of nice. You get a 5% magic find bonus, I should say. And you have to be in a 4-person party to get the gems to drop literally anyway in a party, so warband's important. Also, you get legendary chests that are literally for the warband out of legendary drops, and you have to go to the warband camp, which is here in the middle of Westmarch, and you have to turn in these chests, and those chests are how you get like different set pieces, etc. Something else to keep in mind is these can actually drop pieces of gear before they're actually accessible, meaning you can wear rings when you're only 60 Paragon or something, because somebody who's 60 Paragon can get an item that will drop that is for a slot that is otherwise gated by Paragon. For some reason, it's not locked out that way, so you can complete 6-piece sets earlier than the required Paragon level, but only through the warband stash way. That's the only way. I don't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to get some of the more important tidbits of information out there. If you are new and you appreciated this video, or if you learned something, or if it was even just entertaining, do consider subscribing right now to the channel. It is very important for me to receive subscribers. I will basically get paid more by promoters for doing things like, advertisement plugs when they see how many subscribers I have. So you are directly financially benefiting me by hitting the subscribe button. Love you all. Thank you for that. See you on the next video.